Chapter 2791. The war on Pingy Island is about to begin. Hiss, that's the Dragon Palace. They're from the Dragon Palace. There are so many abyssal species. How terrifying. Even the blurry video makes me feel suffocated. And the Dragon Palace at the back. They're simply abyssal species in human form. They're beasts. They're working with the abyssal species. Destroy the Dragon Palace. Destroy them. The Dragon Palace has joined the war on Pingy Island. They're on the same side as the abyssal species. Support the Dragon Palace and destroy them as soon as possible. When the Imperial Court Protector's message was sent out, it immediately caused a great sensation. Many humans in the Imperial Star region had always been skeptical about the Dragon Palace and the abyssal species working together. After all, there was no evidence. In the past, the Dragon Palace had hunted a large number of abyssal species. But now, the Dragon Palace had entered the abyss battlefield with the abyssal species. This naturally filled everyone with righteous indignation. Because of the existence of the abyss, the Imperial Star region had suffered heavy losses. Now that the Dragon Palace and the abyssal species were on the same side, their anger was naturally directed at the Dragon Palace. The entire artificial intelligence system and the entire Imperial Star region cursed the Dragon Palace. Everyone supported the destruction of the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King. They wanted to hang the Dragon King's head high so that everyone in the Imperial Star region would despise them. In the Imperial Star region, all humans were paying attention to this war. At the same time, Wang Xian, who was in the abyss, didn't know what was happening on the Imperial Court. All the members of the Dragon Palace followed behind the abyssal species and advanced quickly. The edge of the abyss and the front line of the battlefield were getting closer and closer. We're almost there. An hour later, the scene at the front line appeared in his sight. Wang Xian stared ahead and squinted slightly. As expected of the Imperial Court, the battle line has already been set. He murmured, "That terrifying war machine, that powerful might, made one's heart tremble." Among these war machines, there are no less than 10 that have the power of Dragon Peak. Tianjin stood at the side and scanned the front. He smiled faintly. Fortunately, the Imperial Star region isn't good at arrays. Array masters were best at defensive battles, especially those that had been prepared in advance. They could defend against enemies that were 2, 3, or even 4 or 5 times their level. There are so many god kings in the Imperial Court. Wang Xian sighed. Based on his senses, there were at least 2 million divine king experts in the Imperial Court. This was their foundation, the foundation of the Imperial dynasty for more than 600 million years. Of course, the number of god king powerhouses on the side of the abyss species was not much less than theirs. Compared to the foundation of the Imperial Court, the abyss race was born from slaughter, and the number of experts they had was also terrifying. The Dragon Palace and the abyss species are here. At the same time, in the command hall, a group of Imperial Court's protectors stood on the stage and stared at the army of abyss creatures that gradually appeared in the depths of the abyss. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. All Imperial Dynasty disciples prepare to fight. At this moment, a loud voice resounded. The protectors in the command room trembled slightly and looked respectfully in a certain direction. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Above the group of Imperial Court disciples, 4 majestic figures floated in the air. The 2 in the middle emitted a pure and resplendent white light. Within the white light, a figure stood quietly. On the left was a ball of fiery red flames that looked extremely gentle. One could clearly see that the figure in the middle was wearing a fiery red long robe. The long robe fluttered behind him even though there was no wind. On the right was a tornado that spanned over 100 kilometers. It wasn't violent, but no one dared to belittle its might. The 4 figures hovered there like the main characters of the world. This was the true power of the gods, high and mighty. A single word from them could determine the life and death of billions of people. Woo-woo. When they saw the 4 figures appearing in front of them, Xiaolon, and the 2 god emperors of the abyss species of the Black Rules system let out a roar in unison. A savage and bloodthirsty murderous aura surged forward. All the imperial court disciples at the front of the battle line shuddered as they clenched their fists. The two from the Black Rules system and the female lead from the Giant Beast system, are you guys really going against the imperial court? Both parties were getting closer to each other. In the middle, a figure shrouded in light stared ahead and asked coldly. Roar, roar, roar. The God Emperor of the Black Rules system that looked like a bug swept his blood-red eyes across them and spat out the word kill. The God Emperor of the Abyss species of the God Emperor class could already speak the human language. However, it depended on whether they were willing to communicate with humans. The reason why Lan Qingyue was able to communicate with them was because Xiao Lan and Xiao Zhai were stronger than them. Secondly, the attack on the imperial court was suggested by the two God Emperors of the Black Rules system. The moment it said that, the eyes of the four majestic figures shone with murderous intent as they exuded an imposing aura. Hee hee, imperial court, you guys chased us for years and tried to kill us several times. Now, you are saying that you are going against the imperial court. Lan Qingyue stood on Xiao Lan's body and stared at the four figures with disdain. She said coldly, "There's a human on that beast? Chased them for years? What's going on? There's a woman on the beast. Is she the owner of the beast? There's a human controlling it?" When Lan Qingyue's voice was heard, there were at least 500 billion imperial court disciples on the battlefield that spanned 10 billion kilometers. When they heard Lan Qingyue's voice, they were shocked. The owner of the beast was Lan Qingyue. She was a human. Only the God Emperors and Guardians of the imperial court and a few others knew about this. The rest didn't know the exact situation. Is the Dragon Palace courting death too? The faces of the four God Emperors darkened. They didn't reply to Lan Qingyue as they hovered in the air and looked down at the Dragon Palace behind them. A few years ago, the imperial court chased after our Dragon Queen and almost died many times. If it wasn't for the fact that our Dragon Queen had her own trump card and wasn't killed by you guys, she would have been dead by now. Now, you four dogs dare to question the Dragon Palace? Of course, we are going to fuck your ancestors. Four dogs of the imperial court. Back then, the disciples of the imperial court chased us for more than 4 years. I didn't die for more than 4 years. Now that I have the strength, I will fuck all of you. 4 old dogs, wash your necks and prepare to die. Wang Xian didn't respond to the words of the God Emperors. Instead, Baki Devil Fiend and Tu Shuns, who were standing at the side, shouted. He kept calling him an old dog. Chapter 2792, You bastards who associate with animals. Shut your mouths for the imperial court. It won't be long before we cut all of you into pieces. How dare you insult our God Emperor? All of you will die. Small Dragon Palace, you will pay a heavy price for what you have done. We will pull out your tongues. In the sky above the chasm battlefield, terrifying killing intent shot out of the eyes of the 4 God Emperors when they heard what Yamada Demon Fiend and the others said. At the same time, the surrounding space was affected too. The Imperial Dynasty protectors and everyone from the Imperial Dynasty were furious when they heard them insult their great ancestor and their God Emperor. The Imperial Dynasty protectors roared with murderous intent. Kikik, a bunch of sanctimonious things. Did you not think that this day would come when you were chasing after our Dragon Queen? Let me tell you, the puppies of the 4 old dogs, you will die today because of the 4 of you. After you die, you will reason with the 4 of you. Soon we will cut you into pieces. Kiki, later, I will send you to hell and kill you all. The moment the Imperial Dynasty protectors finished cursing, Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend roared at the top of their lungs. Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend were experts in shamelessness. You are courting death. Everyone from the Imperial Dynasty was furious when they heard what Yamada Demon Fiend said. No one dared to call the Imperial Dynasty people dogs. Although they had many questions in their hearts, they wanted Dragon Palace to be destroyed just because someone from Dragon Palace scolded them. Before the rest of the Imperial Court's disciples could curse, the Imperial Court God Emperor, who was shrouded in flames, shouted coldly. His voice covered everyone's ears. Everyone from the Imperial Dynasty knew that their great ancestor was furious. I will find the graves of your ancestors. However, the Imperial Dynasty people were furious. Yamada Demon Fiend didn't care about the Imperial Dynasty God Emperor. They were enemies to begin with, and they didn't care about strength. They just had to shout at the top of their lungs. Roar. Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend's words caused the two God Emperors above the chasm to turn their heads, and confusion flashed in their eyes. Was this how the war between humans started? Kakaka. The Imperial Dynasty God Emperor, who was shrouded in flames, stared coldly at Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend. Are you fucking looking at your dad? The two of them raised their heads fearlessly and responded once again. Even some members of the Dragon Palace looked at him speechlessly. Today, let me experience the strength of you bastards. The Emperor God, who was shrouded in flames, was infuriated. With a roar, he moved and flew forward. Boundless might and terrifying energy wreaked havoc in the sky above the abyss. The Abyss God Emperor species that was also engulfed in flames raised its head and roared angrily. It flapped its huge wings and flew forward. All Imperial Dynasty disciples, defend. And Imperial Court God Emperor shrouded in light said. Having said that, he moved and dashed out. Woo-woo. Shao Otaku's huge eyes locked onto him as he met him head-on. Woo-woo. In the next moment, Little Blue and the other Emperor God Abyss species charged towards the other two Emperor Gods without hesitation. Little Blue locked onto the other figure shrouded in light and charged over with boundless barbaric power. Lan Qingyue, who was on Little Blue's back, flew towards Wang Xian. When Little Blue and the rest charged over, all the Abyss God Abyss species were riled up. They instantly went berserk and stared at the Imperial Court disciples with their blood-red eyes. Boo! In an instant, the entire space seemed to have undergone a drastic change as the atmosphere turned heavy. The overwhelming number of Abyss God Abyss species charged over. In front of them, all the people from the Imperial Court who were standing on the city wall released their full might. All Imperial Court disciples, this battle is mainly for defense. Disciples at the back, carry out long-range attacks. In the next battle, we will annihilate all of them. On the platform of the Imperial Court's Central Command Hall, the Guardian stood there with a scepter of light in his hand. With a wave of his arm, a humongous radiant disk appeared in front of him, covering an area of over 100 million kilometers. Boom boom boom. In the next moment, all sorts of defensive weapons were activated. At a glance, it looked like an indestructible city wall. The other Imperial Court disciples roared and launched long-range attacks at the Abyss God Abyss species that were charging over. In front of the Abyss God Abyss species, the Pinnacle God King existences lifted their heads and launched attacks. In an instant, boundless destructive force blasted forward. Guardians of the Imperial Court, block the attacks of the Pinnacle God King Abyss species. Seeing the attacks of the Pinnacle God King Abyss species, the Guardian of the Imperial Court ordered immediately. Buzz buzz. Rumble rumble rumble. In the next moment, all the Guardians of the Imperial Court bombarded the attacks of the Pinnacle God King Abyss species. The sound of collision rang out, and the mighty energy swept across the abyss. Bam bam bam. However, at this moment, violent attacks were heard from the sky. Fiery red radiance, white radiance, and black radiance shone in this space. Those were the colors of the laws. In the sky, the four Imperial Court Emperor Gods clashed with Little Blue and the rest. In a 4-on-4 situation where they were all on the same level, it was almost impossible to determine the victor. Even if there was a difference in strength, it would take 1 to 2 days or even longer to kill the other party. This was under the condition that the other party didn't escape. Below, after the first round of attacks from the Pinnacle God King Abyss species were blocked, the second round of attacks was launched. This time, at least 1 million Pinnacle God King Abyss species launched long-range attacks at the same time. Terrifying, shocking, and incomparable scenes crossed the abyss. But on the Imperial Court side, the Guardian's order rang out once again. Similarly, all the Pinnacle God Kings charged forward. Boom! After another clash, the attacks of the Pinnacle God King Abyss species were completely destroyed. After 2 rounds of attacks, the distance between the two parties shortened. Guardians, Be wary of the Dragon Palace. They can erupt with the power of a first-order God Emperor. The Guardian transmitted his voice to the other Guardians. Guardian, rest assured. With our defense, we can withstand the attacks of at least 2 God Emperors without the need for Lord God Emperor to make a move. One of the Guardians laughed heartily as he replied. God Emperors weren't cabbages. It was rare to have one more. Even if there were 2 God Emperors from the Dragon Palace, they wouldn't be afraid. Even if there were 3 of them, they wouldn't be defeated instantly. After all, their foundation was there. Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System latest chapter link, Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System full text reading link, /21127 / Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System TXT download link, /21127 / Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System mobile reading link, /21127 / for convenience of reading next time. You can click on the Collections button on the right to record this time. A great battle ensued, silencing the entire world. 6. Read the record. If you like the Invincible Divine Dragon Cultivation System, please recommend Green Bean to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2793, Boom. 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 In the Abyss battlefield, terrifying collisions were heard continuously. Countless Abyss species launched their attacks towards the Imperial Court. However, the Imperial Court relied on their strong foundation to form an impenetrable wall. Apart from the deaths of many Abyss species, no one from the Imperial Court died. All the attacks were blocked by the Imperial Court's defense. Dragon King, the Imperial Court is not attacking but defending. When the Dragon Palace members saw that they were only defending and attacking from afar, they were slightly shocked. Prime Minister Turtle frowned and said with flickering eyes, "It's a little strange." Wang Xian also raised his eyebrows. The invasion of the Abyss species wasn't something that could be solved by just defending. In the Battle of the Abyss, one had to kill the Abyss species without restraint so that they wouldn't pose a threat. If one only defended, the Abyss species would never be heavily injured. In that case, one wouldn't be able to resolve the threat of the Abyss. This kind of meaningless defense was completely useless. The Imperial Court announced on the AI that they will annihilate our Dragon Palace within a month. It has been about half a month now. Perhaps the Imperial Court has some secret weapon that they need to wait for, or perhaps they have invited a stronger existence. Prime Minister Turtle stood there with a contemplative look on his face. The Imperial dynasty was acting so strangely and being so confident, which made them really confused. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. The Imperial Court's decision to only defend and not launch an all-out attack was indeed out of their expectations. However, no matter what the Imperial Court is planning, we will make them suffer a great loss in this battle. All members of the Dragon Palace, attack from afar. Wang Xian's eyes were cold as he ordered the members of the Dragon Palace. Yes, Dragon King. The leaders of the Dragon Palace nodded. Close. Prime Minister Turtle waved his arm and the Dragon Palace army flew towards the front. They are in the attacking range. Heaven's Eye Arrow Unit, shoot. The group of arrow dragons held their bows and arrows. Mao Zedong stared ahead and immediately roared loudly. Shoot. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the next moment, countless arrows flew towards the front. All members of the Dragon Palace, attack from afar. Prime Minister Turtle ordered immediately. Boom, boom, boom. The rest of the Dragon Palace members immediately released their attacks. Even the Berserk Dragons, which were not adept at long-range combat, condensed a blood-red spear in their hands and hurled it forward. The only ones that didn't make a move were the Spike Dragons that were hiding in the void. The Dragon Palace has made their move. Prepare to defend. The moment all the members of the Dragon Palace made their move, the 5 guardians of the Imperial Court were already prepared. Boom, boom, boom. Their bodies moved, and their palms blasted toward a burning star in the sky. The flaming star rotated, revealing an incomparably large black hole in the center. The entire cave entrance was releasing a terrifyingly high temperature. Control the flaming god star. A protector of the Imperial Court hollered and flew towards the flame god star. The 3 imperial court protectors followed closely behind him. Soon after, tens of millions of imperial dynasty disciples flew towards the flame god planet. Every single one of them was emitting a blazing radiance. The group of 10 million people landed on the flame god planet. The black hole in the center of the planet emitted rays of red light. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, streaks of meteorite-like flames met the attack released by the Dragon Palace. The terrifying meteors completely covered the arrows of the Heaven's Eye Arrow Division. Bam, bam, bam. Intense collisions sounded, and all the attacks of the Dragon Palace were blocked. Dragon King, the power of the Flame God Star can unleash the power of an Emperor God under the enhancement of over 10 million Imperial Court disciples. It seems like the Imperial Court is well prepared. Tianjin squinted his eyes as he looked at the Flame God Star before him. Hee, all the members of the Dragon Palace, attack with all your might. I would like to see how they are going to block the attacks of our Dragon Palace with this Flame God Star. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. He and Tianjin didn't make a move. At this moment, he wanted to see how strong the Imperial Court was. Yes, Dragon King. All the disciples of the Dragon Palace, aim at the Flame God Star and attack. Prime Minister Turtle nodded his head immediately and gave his orders to all the members. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Rumble, rumble, rumble. In an instant, 360,000 God King experts from the Dragon Palace unleashed their strongest attacks and struck towards the Flame God Star. The terrifying aura caused some of the surrounding abyssal species to raise their eyebrows. Unleash the power of the Flame God Star with all your might. On the Flame God Star, the guardians of the Imperial Court were shocked when they saw the all-out attack from the Dragon Palace. The entire Flame God Star trembled slightly as a majestic power of flame coalesced in the black hole. A fire pillar with a diameter of over 10 million kilometers flew out from the Flame God Star and clashed with the attack from the Dragon Palace. Bam, bam, bam. Boundless flames collided with the attack from the 300,000 God Kings from the Dragon Palace. The massive fire pillar collapsed slowly. Shit. The strength of the Dragon Palace is much stronger than we imagined. They have 15 to 16 peak God King experts. When the attack of the Flame God Star collapsed slowly, the few guardians of the Imperial Court on the Flame God Star were shocked. This Flame God Star was obtained by their Emperor God through great opportunities. With the enhancement of their fire attribute experts and disciples, it could unleash the power of an Emperor God. But now, they couldn't withstand the all-out attack from all the members of the Dragon Palace. This made their expressions change slightly. One should know that based on their calculations, the Flame God Star was enough to go against the entire Dragon Palace. TSK, do they really think they can go against the entire Dragon Palace with just one treasure and 10 million people? Wang Xian stared ahead with a mocking look in his eyes. At this time, Prime Minister Turtle gave the order again. Swish, swish, swish. Boom, boom, boom. The third round of attack from the Dragon Palace was launched towards the Flame God Star again. Grand Guardian, request for backup. A Flame God Star isn't a match for the Dragon Palace. When the Guardians on the Flame God Star saw the attack coming again, they immediately requested for backup from the Grand Guardian of the Imperial Court. Activate the Heaven Shrouding Fan. The Grand Guardian looked over, frowned slightly, and shouted immediately, "Leave it to me." In the command hall, a protector with a folding fan in his hand moved and directly flew over to the side. Swoosh! With a wave of his arm, the folding fan in his hand expanded immediately and covered the entire void. Chapter 2794. The Heaven Shrouding Fan was another divine weapon of the Imperial Court. A First-Order God Emperor divine weapon was obtained by a protector of the Imperial Court through a great opportunity. This Heaven Shrouding Fan was extremely powerful and could temporarily unleash the power of a First-Order God Emperor. Voila! A crisp sound was heard and the entire Heaven Shrouding Fan expanded to a radius of over 100 million kilometers. The terrifying Heaven Shrouding Fan fanned towards the Dragon Palace. Tornadoes were formed in front of him, forming a tornado domain. Everyone in the Dragon Palace looked over with a surprised look on their faces. The Imperial Court is indeed powerful. Their foundation is terrifying. Wang Xian murmured. He couldn't help but be impressed by the strength of the imperial court. If all the members of the Dragon Palace worked together, they could indeed suppress the attack of a first-order god emperor. But the imperial court could still hold them back when they had to deal with countless abyss species. Sweeping his gaze across the battlefield, the imperial court could fight against one or two god emperors even without relying on their god emperor experts. Each and every one of those incomparably powerful divine artifacts and magic treasures were truly astonishing. A force of this level would naturally have countless treasures. After all, they have more than half of the resources in the Imperial Star Domain. Tianjin said from the side. Dragon King, a flaming divine star and a heaven-shrouding fan are enough to defend against the attacks of our Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Turtle frowned and said to Wang Xian when he saw the heaven-shrouding fan joining the battle. The Imperial Court could already defend against the entire Dragon Palace with such a small amount of strength. There was still a huge gap between the Dragon Palace and the Imperial Court. It's fine. Let's wait a little longer if the stalemate continues. Tianjin at the side said. They could wait a little longer. Wait for the countless abyss species to deplete the energy of the Imperial Court and wait for the best opportunity to arrive. If they were to attack now, even Tianjin couldn't guarantee that he could defeat the Imperial Court. But if they waited for a day or two, it would be much easier. The Imperial Court defended while the abyss species attacked violently. Based on this situation, the battle could last for a few days. If the stalemate continued for a few days, the abyss species might retreat, regroup, and launch their next attack. However, Wang Xian and Tianjin knew that the Imperial Court might have a powerful trump card. They couldn't take out their trump card now. If they didn't crush the Imperial dynasty this time, they might be in danger in the future. Humph, a small dragon palace. If it weren't for these abyss species, we would have wiped you out right now. When the guardians of the Imperial Court saw that the Dragon Palace's attack had been blocked, they smiled and mocked loudly. How can there be so many ifs? If you suddenly die, we don't even have to do anything. You'll all be dead. Yaki Demon Fiend and the others shouted coldly when they heard the ridicule from the Imperial Court protectors on the Flame God Star. Ha, a bunch of trash from Dragon Palace. You only know how to boast, but you won't be able to do so for long. Soon, our Imperial Court will kill all of you and cut off your tongues. We won't kill you right away. We will imprison you in the Purgatory Star and let you suffer for millions of years. A protector of the Imperial Court said with a cold laugh. Tis. I'm afraid you don't have the ability. If you have the guts, cut off my tongue now. A bunch of Imperial Court dogs. Emosha shouted at them. Humph. We don't have to talk too much with these people who are about to die. Even if your Dragon Palace colludes with these beasts, you won't be able to break the defense of our Imperial Court. Another Imperial Court protector said coldly. Chief Protector, the situation has been stabilized. The Dragon Palace was in a complete stalemate as their attacks were blocked. In other places, the Imperial Court was also blocking the attacks of the abyss species. It had been 5 minutes since the start of the battle, and less than 100 people had died. Foundation and strength. And Imperial Court protectors stood on the podium and said to the Chief Protector with a smile. Hee, a bunch of beasts wants to fight with the Imperial Court? You're still far from it. The Great Protector said with a cold expression. The situation had been stabilized, but the Imperial Court still had trump cards that they hadn't used yet. Even if the abyss species and the Dragon Palace still had trump cards, they could still withstand the attacks. The war has broken out. What terrifying power. I'm afraid the entire Imperial Star region can't believe that someone would dare to come to the battlefield at this time. Don't get cocky. Be careful. If there's any danger, we'll escape back to the God Nation. It's okay. I just want to watch the war with my own eyes and cheer for the Imperial Court. I'll post the situation here to the artificial intelligence system. We'll be rich then. Lords of the Imperial Court, do your best. Kill the beasts of the abyss and the beasts of the Dragon Palace. Lords of the Imperial Court, do your best. Kill the beasts of the abyss and the beasts of the Dragon Palace. At this moment, a few hundred people appeared at the entrance of the abyss behind the chasm battlefield. Their gazes were fixed in front of them. Some were shocked, some were in disbelief, and some were roaring hot-blooded. They roared in unison. "What are you guys doing?" The sudden appearance of a few hundred people immediately attracted the attention of the imperial court. A few divine kings flew over and asked coldly, "Lord, we're disciples of the imperial court. We want to cheer for the imperial court to destroy the abyss species and the dragon palace." The group of people replied respectfully when they saw the experts of the imperial court flying over. "Ha! Chasm battlefield. Leave immediately." One of the divine kings reminded them coldly, "They can watch. Let them enter the imprisonment platform." At this moment, a dignified voice came from the front. Inside the command hall, a pair of sharp eyes looked over. Their imperial court had suffered significant losses in the Battle of the Abyss. Letting some people watch from the back was also a form of publicity for the imperial court. After this war, there might be many talented disciples joining them. "Yes, Lord Protector." The divine king bowed respectfully towards the command hall. With a wave of his hand, a ring of light spanning over 1,000 kilometers appeared. The imprisonment circle was also a warning circle. Once one unleashed their energy here, they would be instantly imprisoned and discovered. This was to prevent any accidents from happening at the back. Of course, they also had some defenses at the back. These defenses were enough to deal with First-Order God Emperors. Therefore, they weren't afraid of the Dragon Palace ambushing them from the back. "Thank you. Thank you, lords." Quick. The battle ahead is too terrifying. Is this the strength of our imperial court? If this was posted on the artificial intelligence system, it would definitely cause an uproar. The entire Imperial Star domain is paying attention to this war. Take more pictures of the situation at the Dragon Palace. Let others curse at this damn Dragon Palace. Chapter 2795. Essus, what a terrifying battle. Is this the Battle of the Deep Abyss? The densely packed abyssal species are simply endless. Our imperial court is so strong. Is that a battle between God Emperors? I can't see the exact situation at all. Even through the video, I can feel the suffocating aura. It's too strong. The Dragon Palace is attacking the imperial court. They want the deep abyss to devour our territory. They are our enemies. I want to go to the deep abyss battlefield too. I want to cheer for the warriors of the imperial court. The entire Imperial Star region was paying attention to the battle of the deep abyss. But no one knew the exact situation of the battle. When some people shared videos of the battle at the front lines and some even started live streaming it, it instantly attracted the attention of the entire Imperial Star region. Through some blurry images, they could feel a corner of the battle. When some people saw people coming to the back of the battlefield, some dared to move. Such a vast war was a feast for the eyes of many. Of course, they wanted to see the Imperial Court defeat the Deep Abyss race and destroy the Dragon Palace. People from other parts of the Imperial Star region couldn't help but rush over. The Imperial Court didn't stop people from watching, but everyone was tested by the Imperial Court in case anything happened. There are so many Deep Abyss race. There's no end to them at all. Can the Imperial Court win? My grandpa and the others are on the battlefield too. I hope they can destroy these bastards. Look over there, those are the people from the Dragon Palace. They are attacking us. Kill them, kill them. More and more people gathered at the back of the battlefield. They stared at the vast battle and roared with excitement and anger. Standing here and feeling the battle between the Imperial Dynasty experts, they felt like they were facing a common enemy. Especially those who had family members fighting at the front, their hatred for the Dragon Palace was even deeper. Why isn't the Imperial Court counterattacking? Why is it only defending? Why isn't it counterattacking? That's right, the Imperial Court has been defending and hasn't attacked. But we have completely blocked their attacks. The Imperial Court seems to be waiting for a chance to destroy the Deep Abyss race and the Dragon Palace. I heard that this battle is focused on defense. On the cage, everyone discussed. In a short hour, the number of people gathered had reached 100,000. All of them were Imperial Dynasty disciples who had rushed over to pay attention to the battle. There were also specialized media outlets who came here to broadcast live and explain on the spot. The entire Imperial Star region was watching. With such a huge amount of attention, the Dragon Palace naturally became even more infamous. Exterminating their 9 clans, exterminating all of them, imprisoning them and torturing them for billions of years, and so on. Humph, a mere dragon palace. Even if you borrow the power of countless abyssal species, you won't be able to break through our defense. Just wait for the Imperial Court's punishment in the future. 3 hours later, the battle lasted for 3 hours. The entire battlefield was in a complete stalemate, and even the fighting spirit of the countless abyssal species in the surroundings was greatly diminished. On the Divine Flame Star, a guardian of the Imperial Court roared at Wang Xian and the rest with a ferocious expression. Your dragon palace is destined to perish by associating with beasts. You killed people from the Imperial Court and the human god Emperor. Your dragon palace is unforgivable. One of the protectors in the command hall roared happily. This was the ideal situation for the Imperial Court. After this war, the Dragon Palace and even the abyssal species would be annihilated when the Sky Witch region and the Witch Union arrived. Annihilate the Dragon Palace. Annihilate the Dragon King. Annihilate the Dragon Palace. Annihilate the Dragon King. 3 hours later, millions of people gathered on the imprisonment platform at the back of the Abyss battlefield. They roared with flushed faces as they observed the situation on the battlefield. The laughter of the protectors meant that the Imperial Court was in favor of this war. To them, this was also an exciting thing. Yamada Demon Fiend, ignore them. Yamada Demon Fiend and Yamada Demon Fiend wanted to curse but were stopped by Wang Xian. The next attack had to be a surprise attack. Since it was a surprise attack, it would make the Imperial Court think that the Dragon Palace had no trump cards left. Since the Dragon King has said so, let's stop talking nonsense. Yamada Demon Fiend smiled faintly and said, Wait, continue waiting. Wang Xian said plainly. The war wouldn't end so quickly. Even if they couldn't break through the defense of the Imperial Court, this war would still last for 2 to 3 days. It had only been 3 hours. He glanced at the back of the Imperial Dynasty's forces and smirked coldly when he heard the voices coming from within. Soon, all of you will shut up. Those guys from the Dragon Palace have already shut up. In the command hall, a protector stared at the Dragon Palace with murderous intent and said coldly, They are just grasshoppers after autumn. They won't be able to last long. The chief protector swept a glance and looked to the side. Compared to the entire Abyss race, the Dragon Palace wasn't important. The Abyss race was the key enemy. The Dragon Palace and the Abyss race have attacked the Imperial Court together. It has been more than 10 hours and our casualties are almost negligible. The attack of the Abyss race and Dragon Palace is destined to fail. They are destined to be unable to break through the defense of our Emperor gods. The Imperial Court is invincible in the entire Imperial Star region. We will focus on defense for this war. In a few days, it will be time for us to counterattack. That will be the time when the Dragon Palace and the Abyss race are annihilated. Since the start of the war, the casualties of the Imperial Court have not exceeded 10,000 disciples. But the losses of the Abyss race are thousands of times more. This is our Imperial Court, our foundation. The situation of the war was quickly spread on the computer. Many people were slightly excited by the news. At least from the looks of it, the Imperial Court had the upper hand. Everyone was discussing fervently. Time passed slowly. A day had passed since the outbreak of the war. The entire battlefield was still in a stalemate. The Abyss race in the Abyss was still roaring. The Dragon Palace's attacks were still being unleashed continuously. But the situation didn't change. It's about time. The Imperial Court hasn't released any powerful trump cards to break through the situation for an entire day. They probably don't have many trump cards left. When it was close to 30 hours, Wang Xian looked around and murmured, It's about time, Dragon King. I also think we can make a move. Roving Demon has already entered the other side. The corner of Tianjin's mouth curved. Yeah, it's time to silence the Imperial Star region. Chapter 2796, Haha, block this group of bastards. Given the strength of our imperial court, if we focus on defense, they won't be able to break through our defense. I thought those bastards from Dragon Palace were strong, but they still can't break through our defense. In the Abyss battlefield, as time passed, the tense atmosphere started to dissipate. Especially to the Imperial Court, after an entire day, the Abyss species and Dragon Palace couldn't do anything to them. This made them feel much more relaxed. Based on this situation, even if they fought for 2 days, they would still be relaxed. Originally, they thought that the battlefield would be very intense, and they would suffer many casualties. But at this time, unless they were careless or had bad luck, it would be hard for them to die. This caused the Imperial Dynasty disciples to laugh out loud as they chatted with one another. Dragon King, the array is ready. I'll send 2 avatars over at the front. Later on, I'll charge over and see if they have any trump cards. If the Imperial Court reveals their trump cards to block me again, Dragon King, you can attack. At the same time, at the Dragon Palace, the group of Dragon Palace members were equally relaxed. Sky Formation sensed the position outside the abyss and said with a smile. Sure. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. His gaze swept across everyone in the Imperial Court, and his eyes shone with a cold light. At this moment, Tianjin's body moved and turned into 3 strange monsters. The other 2 smiled at Wang Xian before disappearing. Haha, Imperial Court, let me teach you a lesson today. Tianjin laughed out loud and a terrifying aura surged from his body. With a swift movement, he flew forward. At the same time, he waved his arm, and the 5 elements array quickly gathered in his hand. Sky Formation suddenly flew into the sky and gave off a God Emperor's aura, shocking everyone in the Imperial Court. This was especially true for those disciples who had a relaxed expression on their faces. Their relaxed expressions instantly stiffened. This is the final trump card of your Dragon Palace? Can't hold it in anymore? Sky Formation God Emperor. At the command hall, Chief Protector stared at the strange Sky Formation God Emperor, and his expression changed slightly. But he didn't panic too much. They had guessed that Heaven Formation possessed the power of an Emperor God. This was the worst-case scenario, but it had come true today. However, even if it was the worst-case scenario, they still had a way to deal with it. A puny Imperial Court expert can actually recognize me? Tianjin asked coldly with a flash of surprise in his eyes when he heard the Great Protector's words. Ha! Nothing can be hidden from the Imperial Court in our Imperial Star region. Sky Array God Emperor, you shouldn't have offended our Imperial Court. It wasn't easy for you to revive, and now you're going to die. The Great Protector of the Imperial Court stared coldly at Sky Array God Emperor. He was filled with killing intent. Fallen? If I'm not mistaken, you're in front of the Heavenly Wizard domain right now, informing those fellows from the Wizard Association, and then joining forces with them to kill me, right? When Sky Array God Emperor heard his words, his eyes flickered slightly. He could guess why the Imperial Court said that they would destroy the Dragon Palace within a month. Since the Imperial Dynasty found out about his identity, they naturally had to inform the Shaman Alliance. If the Imperial Court and Shaman Alliance joined forces, they would definitely destroy the Dragon Palace, and even the Abyss species here. Sky Array God Emperor, you're courting death by offending our Imperial Court. From above, came the cold voice of an Imperial Court God Emperor. Is that so? If that's the case, we'll have to kill you as soon as possible. Tianjin let out an arrogant laugh. A dazzling aura of a peak expert in the starry sky could be seen. Kill us? If you've recovered to your peak, you alone can destroy our Imperial Court. But now you have no chance. The God Emperor in the sky continued to shout coldly. Is that so? Then let's see. Sky Array God Emperor waved his arm, and the 5 elements formation in front of him shot towards the Imperial Court. Heaven Net, Earth Net, open. The Great Protector of the Imperial Court moved and flew out of the command hall. Behind him, 2 incomparably huge lightning nets appeared in an instant. The 2 nets went against Tianjin's formation. SSS, something happened. Sky Array God Emperor? Which Sky Array God Emperor? Is it the Sky Array God Emperor who died 10 million years ago? Why is he still alive and making an enemy out of the Imperial Court? Don't panic. We've already made preparations. So what if it's the Sky Array God Emperor? Wasn't he almost destroyed 10 million years ago? Plus, he's no longer at his peak. No wonder the Great Protectors said they'd destroy Dragon Palace in a month. This war is also focused on defense. We're waiting for the Shaman Alliance experts. Once they arrive, we'll team up with the Shaman Alliance and destroy them easily. The Sky Array God Emperor's identity being exposed caused quite a commotion, especially to those watching from the rear. This was a legendary figure, the main character of the Battle of Emperor's Fall. But seeing that the Imperial Court had made preparations, they heaved a sigh of relief. Crackle crackle. Heaven net, Earth net, two terrifying God Emperors. The two nets enveloped Tianjin's formation. The powerful formation broke Tianjin's attack. Wang wang wang. At this time, Tianjin's arm waved continuously, sending formation after formation forward. But Heaven net and Earth net seemed to have enveloped the entire void, heading towards the various formations. Any attack that was enveloped was destroyed by Heaven net and Earth net. The bolts of divine lightning struck down like terrifying tribulation lightning, destroying everything inside. Sky Array God Emperor, is that all you've got? Heaven net breaks all techniques. Imperial Court's Great Protector laughed as he saw Tianjin's attacks being destroyed one after another. I have to say, the Imperial Court sure has a lot of trump cards. But the real war has just begun. Seeing that Tianjin's formation could not break through Heaven net and Earth net's defense, Wang Xian flew up into the sky. With that, he roared like a divine dragon. His arm turned into a terrifying dragon claw. At this moment, the might of a God Emperor burst forth. The huge dragon claw struck towards Heaven net and Earth net. Seeing Wang Xian rush out and the burst of power, everyone in the Imperial Court was slightly moved. Dragon King, you're also a God Emperor. Imperial Court's Great Protector stared at Wang Xian in shock and anger as he roared. Didn't you say you're going to destroy our Dragon Palace? Today, I'd like to see who's going to destroy who. Wang Xian hovered above the abyss and swung his dragon claw. Chapter 2797. The Dragon King also has the strength of an Emperor God. How is this possible? Wasn't he still a peak divine king not long ago? What a terrifying speed of improvement. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace also has such strength. In addition to the Sky Array God Emperor, there are two of them. Is this the trump card of Dragon Palace? When everyone in the Imperial Court saw the strength that Wang Xian displayed, their expressions changed drastically. The trump card of Dragon Palace was beyond their imagination. The appearance of the Sky Array God Emperor had already shocked them. Now, the Dragon King had also reached the Emperor God realm. A small dragon palace with two Emperor Gods. Oh no, the Dragon King also has the strength of an Emperor God. We might be in trouble. On the imprisonment platform, the people from the Imperial Star Domain who came to watch the battle were also embarrassed. They stared at the huge dragon claw in fear. Crackle. In the abyss, Wang Xian's horrifying dragon claw landed on the Heaven net and Earth net, giving off the sound of thunder. The entire Heaven net and Earth net started to change shape. Unexpected, really unexpected. The Dragon King has also reached the Emperor God realm. However, even if you have reached the Emperor God realm, do you think the Imperial Court is afraid of you? We, the Imperial Court, are not afraid of you. The Great Protector of the Imperial Court gritted his teeth and roared. Divine net, open. With a wave of his arm, another huge net appeared in the sky from the command hall. The entire net was formed from dazzling lightning. On it, there was a phantom image of a spider flickering. The spider was over 100 kilometers in size. The entire divine net seemed to be formed by this mystical spider. Heaven net, Earth net, divine net. In the next moment, the Great Protector of the Imperial Court, who had not made a move yet, rushed out to control the three nets. Three gigantic nets that blotted out the sky connected together, once again blocking out a part of the void. Seeing the three nets, Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. He roared and launched another attack with Heaven Array. Boom boom boom. Crackle. When their attack struck, the Heaven-Earth net and Divine net covered them. The Thunder Spiders on the Divine webs were jumping on the 3 giant webs. The all-out attack of Wang Xian and Heavenly Formation was blocked. Haha, the Heaven and Earth Gods' 3 nets is our Imperial Dynasty's supreme treasure. With your newly advanced God Emperor strength, don't even think about breaking through the defense of the Heaven and Earth Gods' 3 nets. Imperial Court's Great Protector roared with laughter when he saw this. Is this all your trump card? Wang Xian bellowed coldly. Haha, then you can try and see if our Imperial Court still has any trump cards. The Great Protector of the Imperial Court raised his head slightly and said with a cold expression, We blocked them, our Imperial Court blocked 2 God Emperors. Is this the foundation and trump card of our Imperial Court? Too strong. Ha, he blocked it, he easily blocked it. When the disciples of Imperial Court saw this, they were all excited. Everyone on the confinement platform heaved a heavy sigh of relief. Their faces were filled with excitement. Imperial Dynasty has so many trump cards? At this moment, a voice was heard from the side of the confinement platform. That's for sure. How can a small dragon palace go against our Imperial Court? The Sky Array God Emperor, that Dragon King will be slaughtered in no time. The voice was loud and some people on the confinement platform answered without hesitation. Oh, then I, Sky Array, would like to see how many trump cards the Imperial Court has. Boom! The calm voice continued to ring out, followed by a vast pressure that suddenly soared into the sky. Kakaka! The confinement platform at the side collapsed instantly. What? Sky Array, he is Sky Array God Emperor. Suddenly, an incomparably violent aura surged from their side. Everyone's expressions changed drastically, and their eyes were filled with fear. Boom! But before they could react, a terrifying attack headed towards the group of Imperial Court disciples in front of them. The terrifying attack instantly covered a radius of a few 100 million kilometers. Oh no, there are God Emperor level experts behind us. Oh no, there's a sneak attack behind us. When the attack of the Heaven Formation struck forward, all the disciples at the front had a look of horror on their faces. Within the command hall, Imperial Court's protector felt the huge change behind him and his heart skipped a beat. Boom boom boom. Oh no, Protector, save us. However, the Imperial Court and the others couldn't react in time at all. The terrifying attack landed in front of them and covered a region. Everyone in that region was instantly enveloped by the energy. In the next moment, millions of Imperial Court experts and disciples were killed. There are even God Emperor level experts. Imperial Court's protector let out a low roar and his eyes were filled with disbelief. I, Sky Array, dominated the world back then. Even if I haven't recovered to my peak, I'm still not someone an ordinary God Emperor can match up to. Continue, let me see your trump cards. Sky Array roared. He waved his arm and a wind lightning formation formed in front of him. Damn it, Light God Hall rise. Imperial Court's protector's expression was ugly. He slammed his arm on the table in the command hall, causing the entire hall to shake. Boom! A majestic power of light was released from the command hall. No, it should be the Light God Hall. The Light God Hall shot into the sky and attacked Sky Array. TSK, you really have a lot of trump cards? Sky Array felt the might of the Light God Hall, pursed his lips and said coldly. The foundation of the Imperial Court is beyond your imagination. Imperial Court's protector clenched his teeth and shouted at Sky Array. Boom! Sky Array's formation attacked the Light God Hall. The entire Light God Hall shone brightly and a pair of wings of light appeared. The powerful wings of light blocked Sky Array's attack. The Imperial Court blocked it again. At this moment, even the Imperial Court's disciples and the spectators were shocked. The Imperial Court was too strong. However, the Dragon Palace was a little terrifying too. Haha, I am the last trump card of the Dragon Palace. Come on, Imperial Court, let me see if you have any more trump cards. Boom. At this moment, a maniacal laughter could be heard from a place not far away. What followed was a terrifying attack and the screams of the Imperial Court's disciples. At the place where the Imperial Court and the Abyss species fought, a crack that spanned hundreds of millions of kilometers was torn open. All the Imperial Court's disciples at the crack were killed in one move. The last trump card of the Dragon Palace, the last avatar of the Sky Array God Emperor. All trump cards, fight to the death. Chapter 2798. No, there's another Emperor God in the Imperial Court. How is this possible? How is this possible? When the laughter, the terrifying attack, and the screams of the Imperial Court disciples were heard, the chief protector of the Imperial Court in the Light Shrine immediately turned around. When he saw another Emperor God, his face was filled with disbelief. Another Emperor God. Another Emperor God. The Dragon King, Sky Formation, and the two Sky Formation doppelgangers. Each of them had the power of an Emperor God. For a total of 4. There were only 4 God Emperors in the Imperial Court. Even though the Imperial Court had a strong foundation, for Emperor Gods was already beyond their limit. In fact, they would be at a disadvantage if they fought against the Dragon King and the other 2 Emperor Gods for a long time. For Emperor Gods was beyond their limit. Haha. It seems like the Imperial Court has run out of trump cards. Since that's the case, die. Boom boom boom. Seeing that no one was stopping him, Sky Formation let out a cold murderous aura and roared furiously. Buzz buzz buzz. The last doppelganger, light and darkness. Beams of terrifying light and dark energy shot out in all directions. Oh no, great ancestor, we are no match for him. Please help, please help. On the biological war wall, the Imperial Court protectors and experts paled and broke out in cold sweat when they saw Sky Formation's light and darkness doppelgangers. Their faces were filled with terror as they cried out for help. Boom boom boom. However, when Sky Formation's light and darkness doppelgangers attacked, another huge crack was torn open. The 2 Imperial Dynasty protectors were killed right away. GGGA. The energy of Sky Formation's attack disappeared. There were already 3 cracks in the Abyss battlefield. One was from the Dragon Palace and the other 2 were from the Abyss species. However, the Dragon Palace was blocked by the Divine Flame Star and the nets of Heaven, Earth, and Divine Net. The members of the Dragon Palace couldn't get through. However, it was different for the Abyss species. The Imperial Court was in charge of defense. Now that there was a crack in the defense, the Abyss species rushed in and killed the Imperial Court disciples on both sides. Only 100 million abyssal demons could enter through the 2 cracks. In particular, the 4 Imperial Court protectors in the 2 cracks had been killed. The left and right sides of the cracks had to face the attacks of at least 1 Peak God King Abyss species. Not good. Hurry up and block this side. Don't let the Abyss species rush over. Release the weapons on the battleship. Fire. Fire. The instantaneous change caused the Imperial Dynasty's stabilized situation to panic. However, the Imperial Dynasty's protectors reacted quickly and ordered the disciples behind to attack. It was an attack, not a defense. Boom boom boom. In the rear, the battleships that were millions of kilometers in size released endless cannon fire, bombarding the crack. A large number of artillery shells killed countless abyssal species. Hee hee, Imperial Court, your destruction has begun. The light and darkness doppelganger of the Sky Formation roared coldly. With a move of his body, a vast amount of energy shot towards the side. A God Emperor massacred existences below the God Emperor realm and also had to face the Abyss species that were no weaker than them. Under such a situation, the experts and disciples of Imperial Dynasty couldn't fight back at all. Great Ancestor, we can't hold on any longer. We are about to be defeated. Seeing the light and darkness doppelganger of the Sky Formation God Emperor charging over, an Imperial Court protector roared in fear. In the sky, a God Emperor roared in indignation. Retreat, all Imperial Court disciples retreat immediately. He roared sternly. In the sky, the 4 great ancestors were fighting with Xiaolan and the rest. In a day's time, there wasn't a clear winner. However, this was within the expectations of the 4 God Emperors. What they didn't expect was that the Dragon Palace would have so many God Emperors. For a whole 4. This was completely out of their expectations. The Imperial Court had used more than 600 million years of foundation, but still couldn't hold on. The balance of the battle was already out of balance. At this time, the more they fought, the more Imperial Court experts would die. Retreat. At this time, they could only retreat, even if it meant letting the Abyss species expand their Abyss domain. But they had at most half a month. Half a month later, when the experts from the Witchcraft Association arrived, it would be time for them to counterattack. It won't be that easy to escape. All of you Imperial Court protectors, die. Seeing that the Imperial Court God Emperor had given the order to retreat, Sky Formation's face was filled with a sinister expression. He locked his gaze on the Imperial Court protectors and charged over with murderous intent. At this time, he was mainly killing the peak combat power of the Imperial Court. Kill, 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 all Dragon Palace disciples, kill. Upon seeing this, Wang Xian bellowed with a frenzied expression. Kill. The members of Dragon Palace released a strong fighting spirit. This time, they didn't continue with long-range attacks, but charged forward. Woo woo. Little Blue and the 2 Void God Emperor Abyss species from the Black Magic system looked up and let out a furious roar. The next moment, the entire Abyss battlefield went berserk again. Sky Formation's Light and Darkness doppelganger broke the balance. The Abyss species fought and blood splattered everywhere. Under the orders of the Emperor God Emperor Abyss species and Shaolon, all the Abyss species went berserk. They surged forward in a frenzy. Retreat, retreat. 20 to 30 Peak God King Realm experts. Restrain that Emperor God, restrain him. Boom boom boom. All the experts and disciples of the Imperial Court saw the Abyss species going berserk and saw an Emperor God wreaking havoc in the sky. They shouted in fear. Restrain him. Swish swish swish. Seeing that Sky Formation was killing the Imperial Court protectors one by one of the protectors roared. Instantly, over 20 Imperial Court protectors attacked Sky Formation. They wanted to restrain him. Boom. Do you really think you can restrain me with just this light shrine? Ha! But suddenly, Sky Formation Feng Lei's figure flashed and broke free from the light shrine. He instantly came to the side of the Light and Darkness doppelganger. As he waved his arm, the void trembled. Array after array was formed and attacked the 20 Imperial Court protectors. The Light and Darkness doppelganger didn't hesitate and waved the array in front of him. Boom boom. Pooh! Over 20 Peak God King Realm experts found it hard to restrain one Emperor God, much less 2. In an instant, over 20 protectors were severely injured and half of them died. Dragon Palace, you deserve to die. The Imperial Court protector controlled the light shrine to charge over. When he saw the scene in front of him, he roared with bloodshot eyes. Chapter 2799. Haha. Tianjin's maniacal laughter rang out once more. He turned around and attacked the Light God Palace. Die. The Light and Darkness clone moved and attacked the dozen injured Imperial Court protectors. Shit, run. 20 protectors could still fight against the Light and Darkness clone, but a dozen of them wouldn't be able to fight against the God Emperor. They could only run. Formation, Darkness Cage. Tianjin's Light and Darkness clone hollered and the Darkness cages locked them down. Shit, save us. The expressions of the dozen or so Imperial Court protectors changed drastically as they roared in fear. Shit, more than a dozen of our Imperial Dynasty protectors were killed. Why does the Dragon Palace have so many experts? Why do they have so many experts? Hurry up and run. The Abyss species behind us are coming. Shit, the protectors are in danger. When the surrounding experts and disciples heard the protectors' cries for help, their hearts pounded. They looked over and felt their scalps go numb. They were the protectors of the Imperial Dynasty, Peak God Kings. Usually, each of them held the life and death of many people in their hands. But now, more than a dozen protectors were trapped and all of them looked on blankly. At this moment, no one dared to help or save them. The disciples of the Imperial Dynasty didn't have the strength to do so. More than a dozen protectors were trapped by the formation and they could only watch as they were killed. All disciples, escape from the abyss immediately. An Imperial Dynasty protector looked over and hollered with bloodshot eyes. Tianjin's light and darkness clone snickered coldly. He locked his gaze on where the Imperial Dynasty Abyss Kings were gathered. He waved his arm and the formation covered them. No. Feudal resistance. Screams of despair rang out as the tens of thousands of god kings of the imperial court that had gathered together were killed. After killing them, Tianjin waved his arm and kept their corpses. Continue. He locked onto the experts of the imperial court and attacked them quickly. Boom boom boom. At this moment, because all the imperial court disciples were retreating, the heavenly formation Windthunder clone found an opportunity to attack the light shrine and shift the battlefield towards the imperial court disciples. The great protector of the imperial court could only control the light shrine to resist the emperor god, but it was impossible for him to completely restrain and trap the emperor god. Under such circumstances, the heavenly formation Tempest clone shifted the battlefield, and just the shockwaves alone caused the deaths of countless imperial court disciples. Facing such a situation, the imperial court protector's body trembled. He didn't know whether to attack or not. But suddenly, a series of screams rang out. Some of the experts from the imperial dynasty hurriedly looked in that direction. Behind them, tens of thousands of strange figures suddenly appeared. They were covered in black and white energy and suddenly appeared behind some imperial dynasty experts. The incomparably sharp claws directly pierced through his body. In the blink of an eye, over 40,000 imperial court experts had died. They collected all the corpses and disappeared from everyone's sight in the next moment. Be careful, those are the assassins from Dragon Palace. Be careful. Experts who are good at scouting, keep an eye on the surroundings, don't let those people from Dragon Palace succeed. A furious voice rang out, commanding the imperial court disciples to retreat. Heavenly formation, don't let them escape, get the Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets. Inside, Wang Xian and Heavenly Formation were fighting against the Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets. The Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets were indeed treasures of the imperial court, to be able to trap him and Heavenly Formation here. Don't worry, Dragon King, as long as they don't escape, the Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets will belong to our Dragon Palace. Heavenly Formation laughed out loud, not bothering to hide it. This caused the expressions of the 3 imperial court protectors who were controlling the Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets to change. Given the current situation, if they didn't escape, when that Emperor God-level existence attacked, what awaited them would be death. And the Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets in their hands would also become treasures of the Dragon Palace. But if they retreated now, the rest of the Imperial Court disciples would be slaughtered by Dragon King and Heavenly Formation God Emperor. Don't let them get the Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets. At this moment, the furious roar of an Emperor God could be heard from above. The Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets was the treasure of the Imperial Court, an existence that could go against the Imperial Court. Once the Dragon Palace got it, it would be equivalent to having 2 more Void Emperor Gods. This would be a huge blow to the Imperial Court. In fact, if the Dragon Palace had the Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets, along with the Emperor Gods of Dragon Palace and the Abyss type of Emperor Gods, even if they joined forces with the Shaman Alliance, they might not be able to destroy the other party. Retreat. The 3 Imperial Court protectors exchanged glances upon hearing the Great Ancestor's order. Without any hesitation, they fled towards the back. Wang Xian was taken aback when he saw them running away. Boom! He moved, extended his dragon claws, and attacked the Flame God Star. Oh no! Run! We have to run too! The protectors on the Flame God Star saw the Dragon King's attack, and their expressions changed. They were originally fighting against the experts of the Imperial Court, and at this moment, they couldn't withstand the attack of an Emperor God. Block! Seeing the attack coming towards them, the millions of fire attribute Imperial Court disciples roared. Boom boom boom! The dragon claws landed on the Flame God Star, and flames splattered everywhere. The terrifying defense collapsed. Dragon King, leave it to me. This Flame God Star is also a treasure. The heavenly formation roared as a series of water snakes appeared around it. Countless water snakes flew towards the fiery god planet. Ah! Endless screams sounded out, including the few Imperial Court protectors inside. Kill at least 20 Imperial Dynasty protectors to break even. Seeing that the Flame God Star was taken care of, Wang Xian looked ahead. The 3 protectors led the Heaven-Earth Divine 3 nets and fled, ignoring the heavenly formation's light and darkness doppelgangers. Wang Xian shouted at the heavenly formation, and in a flash he appeared above the Imperial Court disciples. He locked his gaze on the 9th Order God King Realm Elders and Peak God King Realm Protectors, and charged towards them. Roar, 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 Dragon Palace, you're asking for it? At this time, in the sky above, an Imperial Court Great Ancestor broke free from the attack of an Abyss-type Emperor God Emperor. His eyes were bloodshot, and he let out a beast-like roar as he charged towards the heavenly formation immortal. The 4 Emperor Gods were going all out. Chapter 2800. Imperial Star Domain fell silent as the Imperial Court fled 3-inch Sky Formation. Stop him! Wang Xian roared at Sky Formation as he looked at the Grand Ancestor who had broken through to the Divine Emperor Abyss Seed. Yes, Dragon King. Leave it to me. Sky Formation waved his palm quickly and a formation was formed to receive the attack. Wang Xian locked his eyes on the Imperial Court experts and charged towards them. Seeing the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace charging over, the disciples and experts of the Imperial Court, who were already fleeing in panic, turned even paler as they tried their best to escape. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and locked onto the guardians of the Imperial Court. Dragon King, all of you will die a horrible death. All of you are sinners of humanity. All of you deserve to die. When a guardian of the Imperial Court saw Wang Xian chasing after him, his eyes were filled with despair as he roared loudly. How dare you! Bam! However, what welcomed him was a horrifying dragon claw. The dragon claw covered a radius of 1,000 kilometers and all the Imperial Court disciples and experts around him were affected. We will die a horrible death. Did the Imperial Court ever think about this day when you wanted to annihilate the Dragon Palace and chase after others? All of you will die a horrible death. Wang Xian moved and flew in front of all the Imperial Court disciples and experts, blocking off a space. He swayed his body slightly and an illusory image of a dragon tail appeared behind him. The dragon tail spanned a few 100 million kilometers and attacked all the Imperial Court disciples in front of him. Us guardians and elders will fight it out with them. Let the rest of the disciples escape. Otherwise, they will all die here. When an Imperial Dynasty protector saw this, his body trembled as he roared. The speed of a divine emperor wasn't something they could shake off. Even though Wang Xian had flown over, he could still catch up to them easily and appeared in front of them. At this time, the disciples of the Imperial Court could only escape if the Dragon King was pinned down. Otherwise, it wouldn't be something that could be resolved with a few billion casualties. That would cost hundreds of billions of lives and could destroy the entire foundation of the Imperial Court. Give it your all and stop him. The rest of the disciples, run. Close to 20 guardians of the Imperial Court and close to 100 elders flew towards Wang Xian. Streams of energy shot towards the dragon's tail. Wang Xian snorted as his eyes were filled with intense killing intent. We'll restrain the other one as well. At the side, the remaining 20 protectors and 100 elders attacked the light and darkness clones of the Sky Formation. The eyes of the great protector of the Imperial Court on the light shrine turned blood red. He went completely berserk, controlling the light shrine to attack the Tempest clone with all his might. Within a short period of time, Wang Xian and the rest were pinned down by the elders and guardians of the Imperial Court. Kill. But at this moment, more than 300,000 experts from the Dragon Palace rushed over from the rear. 16 Peak God King Realm experts and over 100 Ninth Order God King Realm experts. They brought with them a terrifying aura as they charged in front of the Imperial Court disciples and attacked them. With the Imperial Court's 9th Order God King Realm and Peak God King Realm experts restraining Wang Xian and the Heavenly Formation, there was no way they could resist. Blood-curdling screams rang out incessantly, even drowning out the screams. Roar, roar, roar. The endless abyss species charged into the crowd of Imperial Court disciples, especially the Peak God King Realm and Ninth Order God King Realm abyss species. Their speed was much faster than the Imperial Court disciples. Rampage, massacre. The entire Imperial Court was completely defeated, and countless Imperial Court disciples died in the hands of the Dragon Palace and abyss species. More disciples flew out with all their might. Roar, Dragon Palace, Dragon King, remember what happened today. The Imperial Court will definitely slaughter all of you. In the sky above, the 4 god emperors of the Imperial Court, who were entangled, looked down and roared with their hearts bleeding. Wang Xian smirked coldly as he swung his dragon claws. Violent attacks were launched towards the group of Peak God Kings and Ninth Order God King Realm Imperial Court experts. Every second, an Imperial Court elder died in his hands. All Imperial Court disciples, escape from the abyss and return to your god nation. One of the Emperor Gods ordered furiously. Imperial Court, you chased after us for a few years. You were high and mighty, but did you ever think that today's situation would be caused by you? Lan Qingyue swept her gaze across the 4 Emperor Gods and said coldly. Did the Imperial Court disciples deserve to die? No, they didn't. But didn't the Imperial Court disciples deserve to die? Damn it. Because they were the disciples of the Imperial Court, they had chased after her, and their leader wanted to kill her. Those who were at the top could decide the life and death of billions of people. That was the case. This was a war. The ones who deserved to die were the 4 Emperor Gods of the Imperial Court. Lan Qingyue's words made the 4 Emperor Gods' faces turn ugly. Who would have thought that they would grow so quickly and terrifyingly? How could this be? How could this be? SSS, we lost. The Imperial Court lost. Our Imperial Court actually lost. How is Dragon Palace so strong? 4 God Emperors, 4 God Emperors. Imperial Dynasty lost. Outside the abyss, the spectators trembled as they stared into the abyss. Countless Imperial Court disciples were running for their lives. Countless Imperial Court disciples were being killed at a rapid pace. Countless Imperial Court disciples screamed in pain. Defeated, a huge defeat. They watched as the Imperial Court disciples fell one after another. Protector and elder level existences were killed, and they found it unbelievable. The scene in front of them filled them with fear and panic. Some of them couldn't help but fall to the ground and watch in a daze. At this moment, they had lost their arrogant attitude from before. The clamoring to destroy the Dragon Palace, kill the Dragon King, and chop off the Dragon King's head had disappeared completely. It was like hell in front of them. They stood at the edge of hell and looked at the scenes in fear. No, 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 the Imperial Court is the strongest. How is this possible? We are doomed. How can the Dragon Palace be so strong? Mad, I am going mad. Once the Imperial Court loses, the abyss will continue to expand and the humans of the Imperial Star region might be wiped out. Some of them held onto the computer and filmed the battle in front of them. In front of the computer, the people who were discussing all sorts of questions and replying excitedly felt their scalps go numb at this moment. Through the video, they could feel the intensity of the battle. It was a sudden defeat. Everyone was caught off guard by the Dragon Palace's sudden attack. How many Imperial Court experts will die in this battle? Some of them murmured and couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Slowly, the spectators in front of the abyss quietened down. Their faces were pale and their foreheads were covered in cold sweat as they looked forward. This battle was the death of the Imperial Court. At the same time, the strength of the Dragon Palace was a vicious slap to the faces of the entire Imperial Star region. Chapter 2801. Imperial Star Domain was silent as the Imperial Court fled. French run. Defeat, a complete defeat. Within the chasm battlefield, everyone from the Imperial Court had completely lost the ability to fight back. After losing their high-end combat power, they could only run for their lives. The Dragon Palace experts and abyss beasts were slaughtering behind them. At this moment, everyone from the Imperial Court wished they could grow more legs. They wished they could return to their own divine kingdoms instantly. The short distance of a few 100 million kilometers was like a moat to them. However, this distance was only a few minutes' journey for a God-King powerhouse. It was just that they had been blocked by the Sky Array clone previously. Wang Xian was there too, which was why they couldn't escape in time. After Wang Xian and the others were held back, the group at the front had already reached the edge of the abyss. Once they charged over, they would be able to escape to their own divine kingdoms instantly. For experts, they could launch a few thousand attacks in a second. But for the Imperial Court, every second they stayed in the abyss meant hundreds of millions of deaths. It was just that terrifying. Ah, I escaped. Finally, at the front, a disciple of the Imperial dynasty escaped from the abyss. He had survived and an emotional expression appeared on his face. After exiting the abyss, he didn't stop and continued to escape. In the end, he turned his head and looked behind him. In the next moment, he disappeared and left the battlefield as fast as he could. The battlefield was a slaughterhouse and they were the prey. Take the heaven-earth divine 3 nets and leave first. Meet us in the vast palace. All disciples who have not reached the divine Lord realm escape to the teleportation formation immediately. At this moment, the Imperial Court protectors who controlled the heaven-earth divine 3 nets also escaped from the abyss. They looked at the abyss behind them with pale faces and trembling bodies. One of the Imperial Court protectors left with the Imperial Court treasure. The other 2 moved and their arms turned into terrifying giant hands that grabbed the disciples who had yet to reach the divine Lord realm. I'm out. Wang. More and more Imperial Court disciples escaped from the abyss. Hearing the screams behind them, they didn't hesitate and escaped back to their own divine kingdoms. This was a great escape. Whoever was slow would most likely die in the abyss. More and more Imperial Dynasty disciples escaped from the abyss and they smiled. The disciples who had yet to reach the God Master level immediately left through the teleportation array and returned to the center of the Imperial Court. Heavenly formation, leave everything around you behind. Seeing more and more people from the Imperial Court escaping from the abyss, Wang Xian turned to the light and darkness doppelgangers and immediately flew over. It's Dragon King. The heavenly array's light and darkness clone glanced in front of him and instantly set up a trapping array. Around him, the 20 protectors and close to 100 elders of the Imperial Court were terrified when they saw the Dragon King suddenly fly over. Not good. Run. Their expressions changed drastically as they frantically fled out of the abyss. But at this moment, Wang Xian had already rushed over. The terrifying dragon claw tore through the space in front of him. As for the guardians and elders of the Imperial Court who were holding Wang Xian back, they were overjoyed at the sight. They didn't dare to rescue the rest as they flew out of the abyss in a frenzy. But just as they were running for their lives, screams could be heard from behind. Their bodies trembled as they gritted their teeth and flew out with all their might. Done. In less than half a minute, the 20 protectors and hundreds of Imperial Court elders were all annihilated. After keeping the surrounding corpses, Wang Xian looked to the front. Almost all the Imperial Court disciples had escaped and there weren't many people outside the abyss. Boom. At this moment, terrifying sounds of attacks could be heard from above. Wang Xian lifted his head and locked his gaze on the 4 Imperial Court Emperor gods. His eyes shone brightly. 4 Imperial Court Emperor gods. One of them was surrounded by heavenly formation and an Emperor God Abyss species. The other 3 were trying to shake off Shaolin and the rest and fly out of the abyss. Heavenly formation, leave one of them here forever. Wang Xian's eyes were cold as he roared at heavenly formation. All right, it won't be a problem to kill one of them. Without hesitation, heavenly formation's light and darkness doppelgangers and wind and thunder doppelgangers charged towards the besieged Imperial Court Emperor gods. Wang Xian followed closely behind. Shaolin, don't let your opponents come to your aid. For Imperial Court Emperor gods, we will leave one of you here in the abyss forever. Wang Xian flew over and instructed Shaolin and thunder doppelgangers as he laughed. Damn it. The besieged Imperial Court Emperor cursed angrily as his expression changed drastically. Oh no, Escape with all your might. Old Yen, give it your all. In the sky, the imperial court emperor shrouded in radiance looked down and roared at that emperor god. Arg, get lost. The imperial court emperor, who was besieged by heavenly formation and the abyss species, bellowed viciously. Streaks of flames swept across the surroundings. Boom boom boom. But at this moment, Wang Xian and the rest had already charged over. Streaks of energy shrouded him instantly. 5 against 1. Haha, Imperial Court, one of your emperor gods will fall today. If the rest don't escape now, I'm afraid there won't be just one of you. Wang Xian let out a hearty laugh as dragon claws tore towards the front. The heavenly formation and the two doppelgangers immediately formed a formation. At the side, the god emperor abyss species that was covered in flames and had huge wings flapped its wings as it attacked continuously. Damn it! Damn it! The besieged imperial court emperor's heart pounded violently. He had a bad feeling about this situation. The other 3 imperial court emperor gritted their teeth as they looked down. 4 against 8, a difference of 2 times. They were definitely not a match for them. If they were not careful, the Dragon Palace might take them down one by one. Great-grandfather, an emperor god shrouded in radiance was fighting against Xiaolon. When he saw this scene, he looked extremely embarrassed as he shouted at the figure fighting against Xiaolon. Old Yen, give it your all. Whether you can escape or not depends on yourself. The Divine Light Emperor, who was leading the imperial court, bellowed with blood-red eyes. His breathing was a little hurried. The huge beast opposite him was too terrifying. No matter how he attacked, he couldn't cause any damage to it. When the huge beast's attack swept over, he had to dodge it. Otherwise, all his energy and defense would be destroyed instantly. Just now, he was careless and his body was hit, directly exploding. If he hadn't reacted quickly and formed a body in an instant, all his energy and blood would have been absorbed by this strange huge beast. He was no match for this terrifying huge beast. Dragon Palace and that woman. He bellowed indignantly in his heart. It was also because of this terrifying huge beast's characteristics that the imperial court had been chasing after them, wanting to get their hands on this huge beast. But they never expected that this day would come. It's been a long time since I've released an update. I've decided to release it on the 20th and release 10 chapters on the same day. Chapter 2802, Don't Force Me. When the Emperor God who was addressed as Old Yen heard their words, his eyes almost overflowed with blood. He swept his gaze across Wang Xian and the rest in a frenzy and roared. So what if I force you? You're dead meat today. The Dragon King stared at him with murderous intent. If I can't kill you today, I, Tianjin, will kill myself. Tianjin squinted his eyes and 2 doppelgangers surrounded him in a triangular formation. The Flame God Emperor with huge wings swept across Wang Xian and the rest. He let out a deep roar and stared at the Emperor God from the imperial court. This wasn't the first time he hunted an Emperor God with Wang Xian and the rest. Lead the battlefield closer to the exits. Old Yen, forgive us for not being able to help. Escape at all costs. The leader of the imperial court, shrouded in light, bellowed with a bitter expression. As he spoke, he led the battlefield towards the exit of the abyss. At this moment, they didn't dare to support Old Yen with all their might. However, they couldn't escape directly either. Otherwise, 8 of them could gang up on one and easily kill Old Yen. They could only lead Xiaolon and the rest to the edge of the abyss. This was to prevent Old Yen from ganging up on another one of them after he was killed. The only thing they could do was to help Old Yen restrain the other 3. Once Old Yen was killed, they would escape immediately. This was their best option now. Old Yen also knew his current predicament. If he wanted to survive, he could only rely on himself. He charged towards Wang Xian with a frenzied expression. To him, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace was the best place to break through. Wang Xian snorted coldly when he saw him attacking. His face was cold. He curled his arm and a dragon claw appeared to attack him. Scram! Old Yan's eyes were bloodshot. He waved his arm and a flaming long spear appeared to strike at the dragon claw. Bam! A terrifying collision sounded and Wang Xian and Old Yen paused for a moment. But the next moment, Old Yen charged forward with a flushed face and turned into a flaming long spear. The flaming spear brought along boundless might as though it was going to pierce through Wang Xian. The rotation of the 5 elements, earth. Wang Xian snorted coldly. With a shake of his body, the 5 elements grindstone appeared above his head. As the grindstone spun, city walls appeared in front of Wang Xian. Hee, aren't you looking down on us too much? At the side, the arm of the heavenly formation waved, and formations were formed one after another, heading straight for Old Yen. A trapping array and 2 offensive arrays. Even if he wanted to escape, it would be impossible. The dark cage completely surrounded him. Old Yan's fiery spear also landed on Wang Xian's defense. The powerful attack caused cracks to appear on the yellow city wall, but that was all. Not good. Old Yan's heart skipped a beat when he saw that. In a one-on-one situation, it would be extremely difficult for him to fight against the Dragon King. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the 2 attacks from the sky formation were already heading towards him. This caused his heart to sink. Falcon God Spear. He gritted his teeth and roared. A 3-meter-long God Spear appeared behind him. The Falcon God Spear glowed brightly, and a fiery eagle soared into the sky to meet the 2 attacks from the sky formation. Boom! Chirp chirp! As the attack passed, a wail was heard. The entire Falcon God Spear dimmed significantly. At this moment, the abyss species of the Flame God Emperor attacked and pounced towards him. Arg! With a fiery face, he waved his spear and swept it towards the abyss species of the Flame God Emperor with immense energy. Boom! However, when he attacked, Wang Xian's dragon claw went above him and attacked him directly. Boom! Old Yen barely managed to block the abyss species of the Flame God Emperor. However, he was suppressed by the might of the dragon claw. His entire body flew downwards, and he spat out a large amount of blood. Even his body collapsed in an instant, but it slowly healed. Oh no, Emperor Taizu Yen is being besieged by the Dragon Palace and is now at a disadvantage. Our Emperor Taizu Yen is in danger. What should we do? What should we do? Even the other 3 great ancestors can't do anything. What can we do? Let's hope Great Ancestor can escape. Outside the abyss, a dozen people were floating in the sky. They were the guardians and elders of the imperial court. They were also the only few who did not escape immediately. Looking at the situation in the abyss, their hearts were beating violently, and they growled in a low voice with extreme embarrassment. Who would have expected such a situation to occur? Now that even a great ancestor was in danger, he might not be able to walk out of the abyss. Boom boom boom. At the battlefield, the sky formation once again released 3 incomparably powerful spirit arrays and attacked Old Yen. Old Yen had yet to recover from his injuries. Seeing the 3 terrifying attacks, he raised his Falcon God Spear above him with bloodshot eyes. Bam bam bam. The immense force caused the brilliance of the Falcon God Spear to disappear completely. As the force passed down, he spat out a large amount of blood, and his arm gradually cracked. 5 elements grindstone, obliteration. Wang Xian did not give him any chance to react. A grayish obliteration river engulfed him. Ha, Emperor Lord, please leave. I can't hold on any longer. I can't hold on any longer. Emperor Lord, you must avenge me. You must kill all of them. Old Yen saw wave after wave of attacks coming at him, and his face was filled with despair. What could he use to resist? He couldn't resist at all. His face was hideous as he roared shrilly. Old Yen, don't worry. I'm going to chop off all of their heads as an offering to your soul in heaven. I'm going to annihilate all of them. All of them. I swear on my life. The leader of the imperial court, who was shrouded in radiance, trembled when he heard Old Yen. Even though he had expected this situation, he was still infuriated at this moment. Murderous intent surged from his chest. He gritted his teeth and swore. Ha, great. I'll be waiting for you guys down there. Old Yan's eyes were filled with despair as he laughed loudly and swept his gaze across Wang Xian and the rest. He smiled eerily and stopped resisting. You'd better wait for the people of the imperial court to accompany you down there. Wang Xian stretched out his dragon claws and clawed at his body. The dragon claws covered his body and clenched tightly. The obliteration energy rushed into his body. An emperor god of the imperial court had lost his vitality. Chapter 2803. The god-destroying emperor occupied the center of the imperial court. Buzz buzz buzz. Clouds of fire appeared out of nowhere in the sky above the abyss. It covered billions of miles of the abyss. This was the emperor's death, a strange change in heaven and earth. Let's go. At the edge of the abyss, the emperor of the imperial court trembled. With bloodshot eyes, he roared and flew out of the abyss. They were already at the edge of the abyss, so it was impossible to stop them. But this time, the imperial dynasty had completely lost. Countless disciples, custodians, and elders had suffered great losses. Even an emperor god like them had perished in the abyss. When they thought of this, they couldn't help but let out a low growl. After flying out of the abyss, they fiercely turned their heads and looked back into the abyss. They had to take revenge for this. Grand Ancestor. The dozen or so imperial court guardian elders outside saw the three great ancestors and shouted with trembling voices. Go back. The three emperor gods closed their eyes and their figures gradually disappeared. The dozen of them clenched their fists and left with ashen white faces. Everyone from the imperial dynasty left. Within the abyss beasts swallowed the corpses. The entire abyss reeked of blood. Up in the air, the abyss species of the flame god emperor stared at the corpse in Wang Xian's dragon claw and let out a roar. Wang Xian looked at him and the corpse. With a wave of his arm, a ball of dragon blood flew towards it. Sensing the energy contained within the dragon blood, the eyes of the fire god emperor abyss species lit up. It opened its mouth wide and swallowed it. Buzz. Wang Xian waved his arm again and threw a ball of dragon blood at the abyss species of god emperor that looked like an insect. Roar. The god emperor abyss seed sensed the energy within and swallowed it whole. Wang Xian smiled and kept the corpse into his space ring. Xiao Xian. At this moment, Lan Qingyue flew over and shouted at him with a face full of smiles. I have taken revenge for the imperial dynasty. Wang Xian smiled. Lan Qingyue nodded her head and looked around. The corpses on the battlefield were either collected by members of the Dragon Palace or devoured by the abyss species. For them, this battle was a complete victory. Dragon King, we have to convert our resources into strength as soon as possible. At this moment, the heavenly formation flew over and the two doppelgangers had already fused into his body. When the imperial court found out that I'm not dead, they've already contacted the Witchcraft Association. If those guys from the Witchcraft Association know that I'm still alive, they'll definitely go crazy. It won't be long before they arrive. Tianjin said to Wang Xian with a solemn expression. How strong is the Shaman Association? Wang Xian retracted his smile and asked. A faction that could destroy the heaven formation at its peak was much stronger than the imperial court. There aren't many emperor gods in the Success Sorcerer Association. There are only 6 of them. However, when they besieged me back then, I severely injured one of them. His injury was extremely serious and it was impossible for him to recover. Hence, his abilities were greatly reduced. Now, there should be 5 emperor gods in the Success Sorcerer Association. However, the abilities of emperor gods of the Shaman Association are not ordinary emperor gods. Any one of them can fight against 2 emperor gods. In other words, they can fight against 10 emperor gods. Among them, there is a shaman from the Shaman Association who can fight against 2 second-order void god emperors. Tianjin said. In other words, the Success Sorcerer Association and the Imperial Court are equivalent to 13 emperor gods. Wang Xian frowned slightly. It will only be more, not less. Moreover, they have the means of witchcraft. Even if we hide at the ends of the world, they can still find us. Tianjin said. Prime Minister Turtle, take inventory of our gains. Wang Xian frowned and ordered Prime Minister Turtle, who was not far away. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded his head and started counting immediately. Xiaolan is very strong. Even 2 to 3 second order God Emperors will find it hard to kill him. Lan Qingyue said from the side. Dragon Queen, this won't do. As long as that shaman from the Success Sorcerer Association can restrain Xiaolan, the Emperor Lord of the Imperial Court is not someone we can fight against. Tianjin shook his head. Lan Qingyue frowned upon hearing his words. Dragon King, I have done the inventory. There are 3 Peak God King corpses, 25 Ninth Order God King corpses, and over 50,000 God King corpses. At this time, Prime Minister Turtle walked over and reported. I have 23 Peak God King corpses and 5 Ninth Order God King corpses. Tianjin took a look at his spatial ring and said, I have 18 corpses, 110 Ninth Order God King corpses, and 1 God Emperor corpse. In other words, there are a total of 44 Peak God King realm corpses. If we add in the 9th Order God King realm corpses, we would be able to create 5 God Emperor realm experts. Adding the God Emperor realm corpse, we would have 6 God Emperors. Wang Xian calculated as he looked around. 8 plus 6 equals 14. The number of corpses was more than the Imperial Court and the Success Sorcerer Association combined. However, the other party had 2 second-order God Emperors. On top of that, the Imperial Court had a powerful divine artifact, the Heavens, Earth, divine nets. What if we fight on the main battlefield of the Abyss? Lan Qingyue asked from the side. It won't be of much use. The Abyss doesn't have much influence on God Emperors. Tianjin shook his head. Dragon King, let's make use of this time to attack the Imperial Court. Suddenly, Tianjin said to Wang Xian. Huh. Wang Xian was taken aback as he looked at Tianjin with flickering eyes. According to the news released by the Imperial Court, the Success Sorcerer Association will take another half a month to arrive. We have enough time to attack the Imperial Court and occupy the center of the Imperial Court. Forces of this level are usually established in the vicinity of blessed lands that are rich in spiritual energies. As long as we occupy that place, I can set up the sky-piercing grand array. By then, I alone will be able to fend off 6 to 7 God Emperors of the same level. Tianjin said confidently. His current strength might be a lot weaker than before. However, his potential was dozens or even hundreds of times stronger than before. Especially his bloodline, which dragon. He could easily control the 7 attributes. As long as he had enough time, he could set up the sky-piercing grand array in the center of the Imperial Court. Array masters and powerful sorcerers were not best at attacking, but at giving them enough time to set up the grand array. When the grand array was activated, it could connect the heavens and earth. Its defensive capabilities were unparalleled. Attack the Imperial Court? Wang Xian's eyes lit up as he looked out of the abyss. We can't stay in the abyss forever. Our world is outside the abyss. He looked at Lan Qingyue and said with a smile, Control the Imperial Star Domain? Lan Qingyue's eyes lit up. Control the Imperial Star Domain. Wang Xian nodded his head heavily. Kill them now. Chapter 2804. Emperor God Annihilation, occupying the center of the Imperial Court, 3-inch kill them now. A chilling voice came from Wang Xian. The Dragon Palace could not stay in the abyss forever. The Dragon Palace had to be fully prepared to face the Imperial Court and the Witch Society. After occupying the center of the Imperial Dynasty, with the Grotto Heavens and huge power of the Imperial Dynasty, Heaven Formation alone could defend against 6 to 7 God Emperors. What did that mean? 1 person to guard a region. If he could fend off 6 to 7 Emperor Gods, the Dragon Palace would not be afraid even if the Imperial Court and the Witch Society joined forces. I'll get Xiaolan to communicate with the 2 Emperor God Abyss species. Lan Qingyue said immediately as she flew to Xiaolan's body. Woo-woo. Soon, the sound of communication was heard. The 2 Emperor God Abyss species agreed to Lan Qingyue's suggestion without any hesitation. Xiao Xian, they have agreed. In the future, we will occupy the Imperial Star Domain and they will occupy the Abyss. We will give them the Abyss Ocean. Lan Qingyue flew back and said to Wang Xian, Great. With this group of abyss species, the Imperial Court will not be able to withstand our strength, Wang Xian said with flickering eyes. He wanted to know how they would react when the Dragon Palace led the army of the Abyss to the vast palace of the Imperial Court. How would the entire Imperial Star Domain react? The Imperial Star Domain will have a new ruler in the future, he murmured as he looked around. Roving demon, roving heavens, roving qi, roving xingmu, oroqi, bring the resources back to the Dragon Palace to raise your fighting strength to the Emperor God level. The rest of the disciples of the Dragon Palace, follow me. Wang Xian raised his arm and shouted. Yes, Dragon King. The members of the Dragon Palace shouted. Beside him, the two Emperor God Abyss species roared excitedly and gave orders to their subordinates. The response was heard all over the place. Let's go. Wang Xian let out a soft bellow. With a swift move, he landed on Xiao Lan's body. The members of the Dragon Palace flew towards Xiao Lan. Dragon King, I'll bring the Fire God Star with me. When the time comes, I'll let the Heavenly Lightning Earthly Fire Dragon and Phoenix Seed control it. They can fight against an Emperor God. Tianjin moved and flew towards the Fiery God Star. In the surroundings, the Imperial Court had no chance to take the Flame Divine Star away. In addition, many large war machines and warships were left behind. Wang Xian kept them one by one. His target was the Imperial Court. If I fly at full speed, I'll need 5 days to reach the center of the Imperial Court. That's enough. With Xiaolan opening the black hole, all the abyssal species would be able to teleport there in 5 days. There was enough time. Is there any news from the Wizard Association? At the same time, in the vast palace in the center of the Imperial Court, the entire hall was filled with a solemn atmosphere. 3 figures sat on the thrones. There was no radiance enveloping them and they just sat there quietly. At the front, 21 Imperial Dynasty protectors and more than 180 elders stood there with extremely ugly expressions. They did not even dare to breathe loudly. In the past, President D had never had the right to stand here. But this time, they had lost more than 40 protectors of the Imperial Court. Tragic. Great Ancestor, they are about to reach the Wizard Association. However, it will take at least half a month for them to get ready and rush over. The Great Guardian of the Imperial Court reported. Half a month. The Emperor God on the left clenched his hands tightly on the throne as his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Then we'll wait for half a month. That Dragon Palace will be destroyed in half a month. The Emperor Lord in the center said emotionlessly. Yes, Great Ancestor. I'll get all the disciples to get ready for revenge. The Great Guardian of the Imperial Court nodded heavily. Half a month later, we'll offer the heads of everyone in Dragon Palace to Old Yan's soul in heaven. The Emperor God on the right said coldly. Wait for half a month. The Emperor Lord of the Imperial Court said as his figure gradually disappeared. The other 2 God Emperors looked at each other and disappeared slowly as well. With the departure of the 3 Great Ancestors, only the pinnacle experts of the Imperial Court were left in the hall. Great Guardian, what are we going to do now? After a moment of silence in the hall, an elder could not help but ask. Stabilize the disciples' mentality and prepare for the great battle in half a month. The Great Guardian said with a dark expression. Now that our disciples have lost their morale, we'll release some news to raise their fighting spirit. Hatred is also a huge motivation. A guardian at the side said. What about the artificial intelligence system? It's in complete chaos now. An elder at the side said. The artificial intelligence system is the same. Release some news and ignore everything else. Half a month later, they'll naturally witness everything. The Great Guardian shook his head. Half a month later, we'll form an alliance and we'll definitely kill that Dragon Palace. It's too easy to kill them just like that. We'll lock them up and torture them for millions of years. That's right, we can't let them die so easily. We've lost too much in this battle. We'll definitely make everyone in Dragon Palace beg for death. Within the hall, the group of protectors and elders had dark expressions as they hollered with murderous intent. Wait for half a month. Half a month later would be the day of their revenge. We've lost. The Imperial Dynasty has completely lost. Dozens of Imperial Dynasty protectors have died and countless Imperial Dynasty experts have been killed. It's too tragic. In the end, I heard that Dragon Palace besieged a god emperor of the Imperial Dynasty. I wonder what exactly happened. Dragon Palace is too strong. They're too strong. Our Imperial Dynasty actually lost. Too many people have died. Our Imperial Dynasty lost. What will happen next? Will the Deep Abyss continue to expand? Will it swallow the entire Imperial Star region? At this moment, the news of the Imperial Dynasty's defeat had spread across the artificial intelligence system. The deaths of the Imperial Dynasty experts, the deaths of the protectors, and the deaths of countless disciples were all discussed crazily on the artificial intelligence system. Everyone felt that it was a little crazy and unbelievable. The strength of the Dragon Palace made their scalps go numb and they felt terrified. The scolding of the Dragon Palace had completely disappeared. At this moment, there was only deep fear. The belief that the Imperial Dynasty was invincible had collapsed. Some people felt that their faith had been shattered. Panic spread across the Imperial Star region. Would the Deep Abyss swallow them in the future? Would it swallow the Imperial Star region? The entire Imperial Star region was in panic. Within the vast palace hall, some protector elders flew out to calm down the Imperial Dynasty army. Some protectors and elders saw the information on the artificial intelligence system and their expressions became ugly. Some were afraid while others said that the Imperial Dynasty was useless. Some people asked what the woman on the terrifying beast in the Deep Abyss meant. Did the Imperial Dynasty experts offend them first? The Dragon Palace has already guessed that we will join forces to form the Witch Association. There's no need to hide it. Just say it and calm the people of the Imperial Star region down. A protector said indifferently. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.